It's 8 o'clock on a Tuesday night here in the UK, 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Eastern Standard Time. Is it, Paul?
Yes, sir.
It is indeed. Welcome along to another live stream where we talk all about running, and we've got quite a bit to cover tonight. So thank you very much indeed for joining me. I've got two guests. First of all, downstairs in the basement, we've got Runningman Sam. Good evening, Sam.
Hello.
Very quickly, tell us all about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm fairly new to YouTube. I've had the channel for a while, but I just didn't use it. I did a couple of videos and then just sort of forgot all about it. Actually, I did one video and I edited it for hours and it didn't save, and it kind of put me off. I thought, oh my goodness, I've just spent all day doing this. So it kind of put the fear in me, and I thought, that's it, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. But I sort of picked it back up again about a month ago. And now it's going quite quickly, actually. We're at sort of 350 subscribers now, or just under. Yeah, I'm an absolute shoe addict, gym addict, and running addict, basically.
Fantastic. So, welcome along, Sam. So glad you could join us tonight. I'm going over, I can never know which way it is because it's that way on the screen.
There you go.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can do it. Nope.
And let's use the copper wire across the Atlantic and say good evening to Paul. Paul, where are you? Where are you, first of all, mate?
I am in Charlotte, North Carolina, USA.
Fantastic. And yeah, we got you. As Englishmen, the one question we need to ask you is, what's the weather like?
The weather is actually beautiful this week. I was suffering through some early heat wave the last couple of weeks, but it's cooled right down to proper spring weather at this point.
Fantastic. Speaking of heat waves, it was 14 degrees here in Blackpool today. Actually, out on a run this afternoon, I was sweating.
Nice. We've had it about 20 degrees, I think it was today.
Fantastic. Wow. So it's looking like we might be getting towards that summer that somebody's promised us.
Well, it's meant to be snowing next week, isn't it?
Oh, shut up.
Honestly, I've heard that it's meant to be snowing next week in Kent, where I'm from. I don't know how it can be 20 degrees Celsius today and snowing next week. That's mental.
Right. If you carry on like that, you're getting kicked off this conversation. Right. Before we go any further, we've had it's like a Zoom meeting. We've had apologies from Rito. He's got a conflict of interest at 3 o'clock in the US, though he will be on the internet later on, won't he, Paul?
Yes, absolutely. I'm doing a live stream later this evening, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I think that's probably around midnight for you, Tony and Sam. But Rito is going to be joining me on my channel. We're going to be talking about tapering because I've got a half marathon coming up in 5 days, and Rito, I believe, is 4 weeks out from 100-mile ultra. So we're going to try to cover all the bases on tapering for everybody, and hopefully have some fun along the way.
Fantastic. We'll come back and talk more about your endeavors shortly, but let's just see who else we've got with us tonight. Ben's with us. Good evening, Ben. One of the oddball runners. He's got an ultra coming up in a couple of weeks' time as well. Or is it this weekend? I'm sure he'll let us know. So yeah, Ben's got that ultra coming up. We've also got the machine, Dave Sargent, with us tonight. So good evening to you, Dave. Internationally, Kim is with us from Denmark, where they can talk about snow because they do get proper snow in Denmark. Who else we got? We've got Andy Hall with us today. Good evening, Andy, which means Helen's with us as well. She'll be listening over his shoulder. Look at this. They're talking about you already, Sam.
Guns out, yeah. This is an indoor light. I'm outside still. The sun's still shining.
Yeah, now the clocks are going forward. It's brilliant. And we've also got David Southwell tonight. Good evening. Well, good evening to you, David. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. As I say tonight, it's just a general chitter-chatter about what's about running and what have you. Yep, the ultra is on Saturday, and it is for charity as well. We'll mention that later on for you, Ben. And if you can put a link in the comments to your fundraising pages, we'll give that a mention, because you are raising money for cancer research, for breast. Chris, that running guy, is doing breast cancer, and Ben and Dan are doing it for testicular cancer for men's cancer. So fantastic.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
So we'll talk about that in a while. And KG's with us. Good evening, KG.
Carl. Hello, Carl. How you doing, mate?
A friend of yours.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
That's awesome.
Right. So we've established where we are, and we all like our running. I'm coming back from injury. Ben, you're coming back from injury as well, mate. How's that going? Sam. It's because just looking at Ben on the thing. Sam, you're coming back from injury.
Yeah. We'll get there in a minute. I'm going to hold up a sign that says,
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm coming back from injury too. So since last year, I've been suffering with a bit of plantar fasciitis, which, you know, we all sort of live with, don't we? We get on with it because it doesn't, like we were saying, Tony, it doesn't really stop you running. It's one of the things you can just run through. So I did. But I ended up giving myself a compensatory injury. So where I must have been subconsciously running a little bit differently, I'm running a bit too much on the outside of my foot. And I ended up giving myself extensor tendonitis. All the tendons on the top of my toes were just, you know, I could barely walk for about a week or so. But we are getting there now. The pain on the top of my foot is gone, so we're just managing through the heel pain now, which is getting better. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we're sort of back to normal service soon.
Fantastic. Have you got any tips for anybody who's going through the similar problems? How did you get through it? Oh, it looks like Paul's got some tips as well. So come on, Sam. How did you get through it?
Yeah, so I mean, it was difficult at first because obviously with the extensor tendonitis, a lot of the toe stretches I couldn't do because that was obviously putting the pressure on the extensor tendons. So that made it really difficult to sort out. But now that the pain on the top of my foot's gone, obviously doing those stretches, a lot of stretching the soleus out and the gastrocnemius is, you know, the calf muscles. That's what's helping me massively. Just relieve a bit of tension. Obviously, the old rolling a golf ball and sort of an ice water bottle under my foot, and physio as well, acupuncture, ultrasound, all that stuff has helped a lot. Like I say, for me, running actually, I don't know whether you guys will agree, but running actually sort of seems to help the pain for me. It's if I'm not running, if I'm up, down, walking about, that's when it starts hurting, you know, because of the stop-start. If I'm out running, I might feel it for a little while, and then within about, I don't know, 5-10 minutes, it feels better. So yeah, just stretch your calves, stretch your toes if you can, and do a bit of rolling.
Fantastic. Paul, you want to come in on that one, dear?
Oh no, I was actually just waving hello because I'm watching the comments go by, and I saw that Heather is here from Running Geek Girl. I just wanted to give her a shout out.
I was going to mention that. Yes. So good evening to Heather. Thank you for joining us.
Comments box. I've got that up now. I can see all that now.
You just thought random things were happening, did you, Sam?
Yeah, I'm like, what's everyone looking at?
Luke's with us tonight.
Luke, how you doing, mate?
Good evening. Who else we got? Michael Sanderson is with us as well. So good evening to Michael. What else we got? They're off on the chat on themselves now. We'll leave them chatting amongst themselves.
That always happens.
No problems. If anything does happen, we'll pick up on it. And if you guys watching tonight have got any questions at all for any of us, please just let us know. Hit us up, mark it up, #question, then we'll see it as it comes through. That would be fantastic. But I just picking up on what you said, Sam. When I've broken the shoulder, sometimes when I'm sat at home or if I'm laying in bed, I'm getting pain.
Yeah.
I'll move too much and shut the microphone down. Right. So yeah, for me, I'm getting pain in the muscles on the arm. It's not the break that's the problem. It's the muscles now. So I have got an MRI coming up in a couple of weeks' time to see if there is any problems in there. But what I have noticed, similar to you, that when I go out and I'm running and it's just that backward and forward motion, there's no pain at all. So the running actually makes it more bearable when you think it'd be the other way around, that if doing a constant motion would be a problem, but it's not. It's that. I don't know if you heard the story, but when I spoke to the physio in hospital, when the doctor said, yes, you can start moving again, the physio came round and gave me some exercises. And I said to the physio, can I run? And he looks at my legs and says, well, you've not broken your legs. Of course you can run. So,
that's all you needed. You're out the door. You're in your shoes.
It's like that old runner's joke, isn't it? You know, when you see the physio and the physio says no running for 3 to 4 weeks, and the one thing that you hear is you can do a easy 20-mile run on Sunday.
Yeah, definitely.
the way it always works for runners, right?
Yes, indeed. Right. Got some. What's this one here? David's commented. David ran a sub 25 on a 5K today for the first time. So that is
awesome.
well done. Yeah, Andy was pacing him. I heard about that earlier on. So well done. Fantastic. Right. So come on, let's go back to what you're doing this weekend, Paul. Tell us all about it. There's been a change of plans as well, hasn't there?
Oh yeah, I mean, you can always count on that. But all right, just to go back, 12 weeks ago, I announced on my channel that I was going to attempt to run a half marathon in 79 minutes or faster.
Wow.
Hold on. Before you go any further.
Okay.
a sub 80 half marathon.
Yeah.
1 hour, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
That's
mind you, this is still 5 days away. It hasn't happened yet. This still could all blow up.
So I'm just trying to get it straight for everybody who's watching.
What's your current best then at the moment? What are you at the moment?
My half marathon PR right now is 1:22:57, I believe. So this is a significant jump for me. Whenever I pick a time whenever I'm going to try to PR, especially now that I have a YouTube channel, I tend to shoot for the horizon. You know what I mean? Like right there on the bleeding edge. Maybe it'll happen. Maybe I'll blow up real bad. So it makes it more fun.
But this is one of the benefits of having a YouTube channel. It's the accountability.
Yeah.
You're giving yourself that accountability partner, aren't you? You know, you've got to go for it. You can't back out. There's people taking that journey with you, and you want to be successful on that journey for them as well as yourself. So I was just trying to say that's 6 minute miling basically, isn't it, to get that?
Yeah.
6:06, isn't it? 6:05.
Exactly, you're dead on. So I did some math last week when my taper started. Had some extra time on my hands, so I started. I broke out the pen and paper. And to address what you brought up just a couple of minutes ago, Tony, there has been a change of venue. I've been promoting this for weeks that I'm going to be running this half marathon on the Lake Norman Half Marathon course, which is a race that takes place in my hometown every May. But I was just kind of basically steal the course because it's pre-measured and I know the area very well. And unfortunately, I found out last week that the start and finish line are actually on a road that is a private road owned by the local golf club. So they're having some kind of big to-do, and the road is closed. So basically, I scrambled around as fast as I could, made a couple of phone calls, signed a few legal documents, believe it or not. And now I have access to one of the local high school's 400-meter tracks on Saturday morning. I just actually spoke to the principal of the school a few minutes ago to make sure everything was still green lighted. And I will be there at like 6:30 a.m. on Saturday morning to run 52.75 laps around a 400-meter track. If I'm not already insane, I will be by the time I'm done.
Yeah, so. You will be. Yeah.
Have you got somebody there going 1, 2, 3?
Check this out. I didn't know we were going to bring this up, but this happens to be within arm's reach. So check this out. My wife is going to be flipping these as we go. So
I don't know. Do you want to know how many laps you've done, or do you just want to get your head down and keep running, and then just let somebody let you know when you've got 10 left?
Yeah, well, it's funny because the only reason I want to know is because I want to keep on schedule with my gels. If it wasn't for that, I would, I tend to disappear into my own head on a run anyway. But as long as I come up for air every 3 miles, I'll be hitting a gel and off we go.
So here's a question. What are you going to do if your Strava tells you you've already completed the half marathon?
I'm done.
Are you just going to go by the Strava time? If Strava says, and that's what it is.
Strava is all that matters, right?
Strava is the ultimate one.
I think when I did London back in 2019, the marathon's 26.2 miles, but my Strava was saying something like 27 miles I ran in the end, because you can never stick to the blue line. And if you're going around the corners on the outside, it just seems to rack up all the time.
Yeah, definitely.
Ben's commented that Granddad's arrived, which must mean, yeah, here he is. Oh, this microphone is driving me back tonight. just keeps on mute. It keeps muting itself. I need to keep still. I've got a dodgy floorboard, so every time I move, it's kicking the mic out. So, well, what else is happening in chat? We're all talking amongst themselves. How's the home this evening, Gandalf? It's bingo every night, isn't it?
So your half marathon target, that's actually my half marathon target as well.
Oh, that's awesome.
My best at the moment is 1:21.
Fantastic.
And I was trying to get sub 1:20 the last time I raced it, but I just couldn't quite get there, and ended up with 1:21 in the end.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I guess I'm helped out by what turned out to be hopefully good news, being on a track instead of the roads, because at least I don't have to deal with hills and it's all that.
Yeah,
fun.
no hills. Yeah, that's true.
And obviously, you're not going to be like Jack Wormsley when he did that 100-kilometer world record and run into a gate. So you should be fine for no obstructions in the way. You shouldn't have anybody crossing in front of you, should you? This is funny though, Paul, because I've watched quite a few of your videos, and you're always getting kicked off these athletic tracks.
I tell you what, it's funny because the track that everybody sees it each week in my weekly updates is not the track I'm going to be running on. That track is just the track that I'm always getting kicked out of. Is that's actually, I'm not supposed to be there. So it's one of those things where the groundskeeper looks the other way, and so I'm always good there until the soccer team or the football team shows up, and then they always kind of look at me sideways and kind of say, "Get out of here, buddy."
Yeah, if you watch Paul's videos, he gets faster for those last couple of intervals when they turn up.
Exactly, just trying to get it done.
Right, so we've got to ask the question, because we are runners, and this is the thing we spend most of our money on. What shoes are you wearing, Paul?
Race day will definitely be the Endorphin Pros, the Saucony Endorphin Pro.
And why is that? Why is that your choice?
Well, it's funny. That was my it's the one and only plate shoe that I own, and I guess I just lucked out because as I watch all the reviews of all the big players in the carbon fiber arena, it seems like, back when I bought them, which is now probably 5 months ago, they kind of floated to the top as far as being people's favorites. So I feel like I made a good choice. And so I haven't gone out and invested in any other carbon fiber shoes yet, but so far I've worn them.
No, me neither.
You've not bought any shoes recently, have you?
No, none. No carbon fiber plate shoes, mate.
Oh, okay, wow. Yeah, I mean,
I'm being sarcastic. I have an absolute addiction to running shoes. So the only ones I don't, well, not the only ones, but I don't actually have the Endorphin Pro. I have the Speed.
Love the
Speed. But I do have the Adio Pro, the Vaporfly, the Vaporfly 2, the Alphafly. I've got them all next to me, actually. I've got them all here. If we need to talk about any of them, they're all on hand in the corner. You can see me in the next two I've got just on hand.
What he's trying to say is, Paul, he sleeps with his shoes.
Yeah,
I actually do. They are in my bedroom. I actually do.
Right, so my closet is being overrun with shoes. It's almost to the point where they are on my bed because there's no place else to put them. It's ridiculous.
when we start off, we buy one pair of shoes, and that's all we're going to need. We're not going to need any more. And then I'm looking at over £1,000 worth of shoes in front of me at the moment, so it's total madness. So, well, KG asked the question there, Paul. What shoes are you wearing for the half marathon? So that answered that. Do you know what? I just feel old and slow now compared to you guys talking of doing your 122s, your 125s. Here's me running a half marathon in 132. I feel like I must be walking it.
But it's all relative, isn't it? If it's fast for you, then it's fast. It's always relative to the person.
Yeah, there is no such thing as too slow. Not at all. Everyone's different. Everyone is aiming for different targets, different training cycles. So never compare yourself to anybody else. Have a look on Strava, see how people are doing, give them encouragement, but don't be comparing yourself to anybody else who's out there, even if they're in the same running club as you. We're all doing different things. So unless you've got somebody you're really going up against.
Yeah, I mean, you can only compare if you're an elite, can't you? That's the only time you're in the same category as everyone, if you're an elite. Other than that, we're all different.
Yeah, my favorite saying has always been compare yourself to yesterday. That's what you're competing with.
Well, that's it. The only race you have is against you and time, isn't it?
You versus you. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So as I say, I've got my first half marathon coming up end of June. You know, once we're 21st of June, it's a big day here in the UK, Paul, because that's the day the government is letting us out, so we can get back.
Wow.
Inverted commas, normal, whatever that may be. I can't see it being normal, but they're releasing us out. So after that date, all the runs seem to be back on. So my first half marathon's on the 27th, and I'm aiming for 1:30, going sub 1:30. So I'll ask both of you. We'll start with Sam. What's your top tip for me to speed up to get that 2 minutes off my time?
Interval sessions are the best thing that you can do. Just do as many interval sessions, or not as many, obviously in a week, but make the interval sessions count and do your longer runs at a slower pace. And so you've got that energy for those interval sessions where you can put as much effort into the intervals as possible. Some sort of tempo runs as well. You could do like a long run where you run easy for, say, I don't know, 4 miles, and then maybe chuck in a tempo where you run at your half marathon goal race pace for 3-4 miles, back to a few more easy miles. And basically you're learning that pace so that when it comes to race day, you can kick into gear. You know that that's the pace you've got to hold. Yeah, I mean, that's how I always get to any of my targets on races, is just interval sessions, work on that goal race pace, really.
Have you got anything you can add to that, Paul?
Yeah, I think first of all, I want to second what Sam said. Up until 6 months ago, when I ran my first 5K time trial, I was like a marathon guy, like almost exclusively for years. So me and the track were the two worlds never met. And after spending just a lot of time on the track in the last 6 months, I cannot believe, I feel like I've been cheating myself out of better times for years, because I cannot believe the night and day difference it makes when you get out there and you push yourself every week hard.
Yeah.
Plus, it's a lot of fun out there. So, so it's not all suffering. I mean, it's suffering, but it's also a lot of fun.
It's fun suffering. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that you definitely want to incorporate intervals, even if you're going after a longer race like a half marathon or a marathon. And the other big thing for me that I see consistently, the line between the people who hit their goals and those who are still struggling, is probably the length of your training cycle. I think the longer you can afford to go and keep yourself injury-free, which is kind of like, that's the balancing act, because the longer you go, the more likely you are to hurt yourself. But if you can get out there for 16 to 18 weeks, if you can make that happen, I've personally found that the odds of your success in your goal race go way up. Yeah. Just because your body's used to that grind, and you just feel like you ran out of steel at that point.
Yeah, it's not just about the 16-week block, is it? It's about building that base beforehand. And people think, especially people who enter the likes of London, who are doing it for charity or doing it just for a laugh, so to speak, they hit that 16-week training block as week 1, day 1. Right, I'm going out to do my first run. It's not a case of doing that. You got to be spending a month, 2 months, 3 months before that, building the base before you actually hit the training cycle.
Yeah, I mean, all good long-term training cycles will have certain, like, different mesocycles built into them, where you're kind of building, then you start to introduce the speed, then you hammer it, and then you start to taper. That's like the usual thing. But yet, exactly what you said, Tony. If you don't have that base, so that you're going into the formal 16 weeks, the formal 18 weeks with a good base, then you're asking for it. You want to be able to run whatever your mileage on the first week of your training cycle is supposed to be. You should be able to do that comfortably before you ever start that cycle.
Yeah. Right. We've got a question from Joe. What's more effective in speed training, fast, flat intervals or hill intervals? Now, I'll come to both of you in a second, but to me, the difference between a flat interval and hill work is different as chalk and cheese, because your flat intervals are your speed work, whereas your hills are more for strength as opposed to all-out speed. What's your thoughts on that, Sam?
Yeah, definitely. So for the speed sessions, on the flat, that's where you can really work on the goal race pace. So the only thing that's limiting you on getting that speed is your ability. There's no hills or anything like that. It's just focusing on that, I don't know, 5-minute 20 pace or whatever it is, and getting it done. Whereas, like you say, with hill intervals, it's about building that strength. And also, it's preparing you for a race, because I don't know about you guys, but whenever I do a race, there's plenty of hills in it. So you need to be prepared for those hills, because if you're just training on a track or flat all the time, as soon as this first big hill comes in front of you, all your sort of ideas are going to completely go out the window, and it's going to be like, oh, I didn't prepare for this. So I would say a combination of both. Maybe 1 week do your hill reps. You don't necessarily have to do slow hill reps. You could do hill sprints, where it's a short hill that you literally sort of sprint up at, I don't know, 80%, 90% effort. Or you can just do long hill reps, where it's sort of like a steady effort. And then next week, maybe do your 400-meter reps, or 200 or a mile, whatever it is, and just have a combination of both of them. Yeah, just balance it up.
So what's the thoughts from your side of the Atlantic, Paul?
Well, I agree with everything that's been said so far, but I guess one of the differentiations I think is worthy of noting is that when you're doing like speed workouts on a flat track or something like that, you're grinding, you're working hard, you're building the muscles. But the big advantage of doing those hill sprints is that if you're doing them with proper form, you're turning over faster. You're working on your cadence. Because you should be taking shorter strides more often. So not only do you get that strength benefit, but it's gonna teach you to move faster. Like when you take that fast cadence back onto the track the next week, you're gonna be flying. I can speak from literally every week. I prove this to myself. When I get to the track, and especially when I'm doing my 400-meter repeats, I always try to hone in on, for me, what works is let go of the trying to go for the big stride length. I know for a fact from weeks of proving it to myself that my speed at my size, with my leg length, et cetera, I'm faster when I'm with a faster cadence. If I'm turning over faster, I get around that track faster than if I'm taking longer strides. So the hill repeats help with that in a big way. Yeah,
it's funny. I'm the complete opposite of that. Where I'm quite a big guy. I'm about 92, 93 kilos, 6'2". So for me, it's I try to work on my cadence, but I can't seem to get it higher than 175, something like that. If I go too high, it just doesn't work for me.
That's so interesting, because I'm a little guy. I'm 5'7". So kind of like, I don't gain a lot from widening, that my
stride length. Yeah.
Fantastic. Right, we've got some more questions.
Oh yeah, go on.
Yeah, but this is one just for you, Sam. It is from Ben. What's your favourite headband? Because you're always out with the headbands, aren't you?
I am, yeah. I've got some new ones recently, actually. I bought a couple from, I think they're called Junk headbands or something like that. And it's got a little tiger on the front of it. And that's I think I've got it over here.
You're missing a thing, right? Because I've got on my running guy hat. Evening, Chris. So Chris has got his hats as merch.
There we go.
So I think you should be looking at getting some Runningman Sam headbands.
That is the goal, mate. That is the goal eventually. Look at that. Well, hey. If the cyclists and pedestrians don't get out of the way because of my tattoos, they will when they see this.
Do you find people intimidated by your tattoos, Sam?
I mean, I'm not a very rough and ready guy, so hopefully they see that I'm not like that. But sometimes it's just, I mean, I'm a pretty big bloke, so it's kind of like people sometimes, if they see me hurtling towards them like a rhino, they're sort of like, oh god. But yeah, no, I sort of try and give them a smile as I go past them, so they don't think I'm trying to kill them or something like that.
You just imagine him hurtling down the hill towards you. Oh no. Speaking of hills, I did the Berlin Marathon a couple of years ago as well, just name dropping. And what they say about Berlin, it is a relatively fast, flat course. And I will say for 98% of the course, that's right. But at mile 21, you know that moment when your body's given up, your energy's run out, and you're just about to hit the metaphorical wall. And I know we don't hit it the same as we used to because we're all gelling up and taking our liquids and taking our jelly babies and what have you. So we are fueling ourselves a lot better on these long runs, but we still have that mile 20, 21 slump. But mile 21 on the Berlin Marathon, there's just a slight long incline as the road goes up and over the motorway. And it's just at that point we're at your lowest. So beware when people say they're flat courses, because there's plenty of stuff in there like that to catch you out.
Right, like you say normally.
Have you done any big races, Paul?
As far as the big world marathons, no.
Big races to you?
Well, big races to me. Not to hit this same point again, but I think as far as the number of participants goes, I think the biggest marathon I've run is had like 2,500 participants in it. Myrtle Beach Marathon, which I've run finished once and didn't finish once. But I plan to get up to the New York City Marathon, and I actually plan to run Chicago this coming fall. But with COVID, I didn't put the money down because I didn't want to get disappointed and have to play that game. So I may very well still go after Chicago by entering as a charity runner. I would have been, I had a guaranteed spot because of my qualifying times from previous marathons, but like I said, I missed the window on that. So we'll see.
Mark Ray, who's with us tonight, he's going to New York this year to run that marathon. And I think he said he deferred his Chicago to next year. So he's over to the States a couple of times doing those. You mentioned earlier on, Sam, that you've got London this year. Have you done any other big races previously?
I haven't, no. I was meant to be doing Brighton Marathon last year. And then obviously the world ended and all this thing went on. So that was then deferred to this year. But because of London, I've deferred it again to 2022. So yeah, London Marathon will be my first actual marathon, to be honest. I have done a marathon, but it was a solo. It was a solo marathon. That's the only marathon I've done. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what it's like having thousands of people around me. That's for sure. But yeah, I'm aiming for 2:45. So I've got a big target to go for. And I was feeling really, really confident before I got this injury, and now I sort of feel like you're sort of starting over again. But that's what it's all about, isn't it? You just got to put the training in and get back there. So I'll get back there.
The only thing I'll say about London is it is absolutely fantastic. The crowd support, it's like 3 to 6 people deep the whole route from the start to finish. It is people both sides of the road. It never thins out any. You've got your name on your vest. They're all shouting for you. They're all cheering for you. They're all offering you jelly babies and stuff. It's really brilliant. Sam, you'll appreciate this one. Paul, you might not because of what lagers you have over in the States. But I was at mile 22. I was hurting, and this guy comes and leans over the barrier and says, "Do you want a jelly baby or do you want a beer?" And I looked at the beer, and it was a can of Foster's. So I went, "I'll have some jelly babies."
That's funny. It seems like Foster's has the same perception all over the world, unfortunately.
But that just summed up the London Marathon to me. That's how it is. People are there, they're cheering you, they're trying to help you on. It's fantastic.
There's a question there about the Vaporfly 2s. Am I saying that question for Sam?
Yeah, I'm just going to come back to that. We've missed one, so we'll come back to that one in a second. Whoa, fantastic.
Well, hey!
Yay, 500 subs. Thank you very much indeed for letting me know about that, Chris. That's very kind of you to let us know. Thank you for everybody who has subscribed to the channel. We'll get it in here whilst we're all together. If you haven't subscribed, if you could do so below. I have also put links through to Paul's channel and to Sam's channel as well. So if you've got a second, go and click subscribe to all those. That would be fantastic.
Thank you, sir.
Right.
Appreciate that.
No problem. Charlotte's asked us a question. Sometimes we all have those days where we don't want to run. Do we? Yeah, we do. So what keeps you motivated and gets you out and helps you get it done? We'll start with Paul on that. So what do you do on those days when it's harder to get out of bed?
Okay, well, I'll give you two answers to that. One deep, one fairly obvious. The obvious one is time trials. I've discovered that is motivating like nothing else when there's a lack of big races. So having a goal, you know, I'm sure everybody's heard that 1,000 times, but nonetheless, for me, that's incredibly motivating, knowing that if I don't get out there, I'm just destroying my chances at my given goal. So, and the other thing is when I really don't feel like it, but I know that there's nothing physically wrong, when it's just kind of a mental, emotional thing, I think there's a lot of sort of inner reflection that you can do. I think there's, if it's not a positive emotion that you're feeling towards your running, turn it off. Just tell yourself it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I don't want to go. I'm going to be happy that I did it when I get back. And not even that. You don't even have to wait till you get back. When you're in mile 2 and things are starting to feel good, you're going to thank yourself. So just ignore the negativity and just do it. Just force yourself like a robot out that door, and it'll get better.
And yourself, Sam, what's the big motivation apart from buying a new pair of shoes?
Yeah, well, that actually does help me massively. That's partly why I buy so many, because I think, well, these shoes just turned up. I've got to go find out what it's like. But yeah, I've got to agree, the same sort of thing. I just kind of think, well, if I don't do this run, how's that going to affect me going forward? Am I going to go to achieve those goals that I want if I don't go out and run today? And also as well, you know, I've got between me and my partner, we've got 3 kids, and they love it. They love watching my Instagram. They love watching my YouTube. They do all the stretches with me and all that kind of thing, and they love it. And it's about, for me, it's about being, and on Instagram, it's about being a positive role model as well. You know, I'm not, you know, I want them to see that it's not always easy. You don't always, it's not sort of one of them things where you just, every day I'm like, yeah, I'm going for a run, it's fine. There's loads of times when you don't want to run and you can't be bothered and it's sore and you're tired. And obviously if you're injured, that's different. I'm not saying, you know, don't do that, but I don't want anyone to think, oh yeah, we're just going to go out, whatever. But, you know, if the kids are seeing you push through the hard times, then it's just, for me, it's giving them a positive image. You know, if something's difficult, we don't just give up. We keep trying, we keep moving forward, and that's sort of a big part of it for me as well as the new shoes, obviously.
Yeah, I think Paul's hit it on the head with the you never come back from a run. It's like going to the gym. You might moan about drag your heels going to the gym, but once you've done a good workout session, you're buzzing when you come back. It's that exercise, it's the physical exercise and the mental exercise. It always picks you up. So it might be hard to get going, but once you chip yourself over that edge and you haven't listened to that first half mile in your head saying, no, don't do this, everything's hurting. Once you get over that, it's just, you're just so happy you've done it in the end, aren't you?
Definitely. Yeah,
it's a big transformation. I find, and I've said this before several times, people are, I'm sure, sick of hearing me say it, but the mind-body connection is really deeper than people have historically given it credit for. I mean, you're better mentally when you're better physically. So
fantastic. Right, let's move on. A question that I think you have been waiting for, Ben, because you've got a pair of these. Ben, I've done it again, haven't I?
I'm going to get that signed, Tony. I'm going to start calling you something else.
Yeah, call me Chris. Everyone else in the UK who's got a running channel is called Chris. Just call me Chris. We'll fit in there. Right, Sam. Question from Andy here. Have you given the Vaporfly 2s a spin out yet? If so, are they much different to the original Next Percent?
I have, yes. So, without shamelessly promoting myself, I have done a YouTube video on the Vaporfly 2, where I'm looking into it after my first run. It was only a short run, 3.5 miles in it, because it was meant to be a rest day, and the doorbell went, and I was like, there's no way I'm having a rest. I wasn't sore, I wasn't injured. So I was like, there's no way I'm having a rest day. These are going on my feet and I'm getting out the door. So in terms of, are they any different? The midsole is exactly the same. The outsole is exactly the same. The only difference that we've got is the upper. It's a bit more, I don't know if you've got, and if you've got the original one, but the original one is kind of like a a weird sort of like fishnet material. It's kind of like the Vaporweave is a weird sort of material, whereas this is a bit more of like a mesh material. Plus the fact it's actually cheaper. It's cheaper than the original version.
Yeah, that's what's got me so tempted. I cannot wait to get a pair.
Yeah, so that's the original.
Yeah, so I've got the original here in the sale edition, and the tip is completely peeling off on this one. And I've got it as well in the custom.
As my son called them, Sonic the Hedgehog shoes.
Sonic the Hedgehog shoes. Well, they do, don't they? You know, you put them on, and all of a sudden you're flying around the world. You feel like Usain Bolt all of a sudden, and it's mental. But yes, in terms of are they different? Yes and no. It's exactly the same shoe. It feels exactly the same to running. It's just the upper that's different, and it is a positive change to the upper. In my opinion, it's a positive change and a positive price change as well. So a win-win, I would say, on that one.
Fantastic. What was I going to say about the next percent? Oh, something just jumps in my head and it's gone again. I'll come back to it. Paul, have you run in the next percent?
No, I have not, but I have a friend who owns them and raves endlessly and tells me that I better buy them. So it's around the corner. You'll see a video on my channel very soon.
It's a bit like a Ferrari for me. You know, it's kind of like you put it on, and not that I've ever driven a Ferrari, but it's like you put it on and all of a sudden you're flying around. They are really unstable for me. You know, I find them quite unstable. So I put them on if I want to smash those times, but I'm always wary of it, especially because I've got a high arch. So if anyone does have a high arch or suffers from plantar fasciitis, I'm not saying don't get it. Just be cautious of it, because personally for me, it's not a super stable shoe.
Now, you know what's interesting about what you just said there is my friend who owns those, when I did the last set of time trials, he participated as well. And he actually chose not to wear those because we were running on a track, and he didn't want to take the corners on those shoes because
definitely it's a big problem with it, to be honest. You know, I can't fault it at all for speed or responsiveness or anything like that. It's the fastest feeling shoe that I've ever run in, and as we all know, I've got a few of them. But it's not always about that, is it? You know, if you're doing a half marathon or a marathon, it's not just out and out speed that is the only factor that you want. You want something that's stable. You want something you feel confident in. So for me, it's a big battle at the moment between the Addio Pro and the Next Percent 2, because they're both got their strong points. So that my London Marathon is going to be, I'm going to have to do a lot more experimenting with both of these shoes to sort of decide which I might wear one on the left foot and one on the right foot. See how we get.
That would make an interesting video. Yeah, the thing I was going to say about the Vaporflies was, I don't know if you saw this. It was on Friday. It was the British Marathon Championships to get the places for the Olympics. Normally it happens part of the London Marathon, but this year, obviously, everything's gone sideways. So they held a different event, and I think, to be honest, they should hold a different event each year, not just have it as part of the London Marathon. Have something later on to focus on. And the guy who won, Chris Thompson, he's actually sponsored by On shoes, but he wasn't wearing On shoes on Friday. He was wearing a pair of just blacked out shoes.
Yeah.
Now I've gone into the story, and On had said to him, "You are our athlete, but we want you to perform as best as you can, and we don't want to hinder your performance in going towards your goals." And his goal was to get in towards the Olympics. So what they said was, you can wear another shoe, but obviously we need to debrand it. Yeah. So On shoes, let him run in another shoe.
Wow, that's really interesting.
As long as it was blacked out.
Yeah.
But if you have a look at the shoe that he was running in, it was blacked out, but it had a tail end that looked something like this.
A little bit black.
So it looked like a pair of jet black Nikes he was wearing, some Vaporflies. So it was very interesting because that's something that people have asked before. If you are sponsored by one shoe company, and Nike came along, they were 2 years ahead of everybody else with the carbon plate technology, and they just bashed out all these records. But now how does it affect people who are sponsored by other companies? So in this case, On have said they're still a distance away from their carbon plated shoe, so they allowed him to choose something else.
Yeah, I mean, they have got a couple out, haven't they? But I just don't think they're in the same league as the other ones at the moment. They're more sort of like, for what I've seen of them, more like sort of interval training shoes. Personally, that's what I would use there for.
So yeah, the other companies seem to have caught up. Adidas seem to have caught up really well. The Adios Pro shoe, I love it, and that's the one I would go ahead with that, ahead of the Vaporfly. And that's not saying the
Vaporfly though. It's like gold dust, isn't it?
I got it.
Yeah,
I was there. I was there 9 o'clock one morning going bye. I'll go away.
You know, it's funny. Did you guys see the new Asics shoe, super shoe just dropped this morning?
I did. Yeah.
The Meta Racer.
Meta Sky or whatever it is.
Yeah, I watched Kafuzi's video on it last night while I was at work, and I just thought they look absolutely awesome.
Like a very interesting shoe, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they've. Did you say that they've dropped in the US? Can you buy them now then?
I think April 1st is sale day, but everybody dropped their reviews today. So
yeah, I saw the reviews. Yeah, I was straight on Google trying to find it, but I can't find it anywhere.
Fantastic. Right, let's just go through a few more questions that have popped up. Mark says he is doing Chicago next year. That's brilliant.
Awesome.
He also mentioned that the support in London is amazing, and yourself, Sam, and I know Chris, the running guy, is doing it for the first time. It is going to be absolutely fantastic for both of you. Yeah, he can't wait for London, his first ever marathon as well. Brilliant. We've got another question from KG. What races have you guys got planned in the diary? I'll quickly run through mine because I have to qualify. I've got races booked and planned, but once I've had this MRI on my shoulder, if I've got to go in for surgery, the rest of my year's gone kaput. So what I've got for at the moment is half marathon in Southport, a local race in June. But then looking at the big races, got the Great North Run in September in Newcastle, the world's greatest half marathon. And then in October, I've got Manchester Marathon and Amsterdam Marathon. So that's my year.
Awesome.
Subject to not having to go under the knife for my shoulder. So did you say you got anything planned after your half marathon time trial, Paul?
Well, I know I'm going to be running a marathon in October or November. Where it's going to be is still up in the air. If I have to time trial for, hopefully it doesn't come down to it. Hopefully the world is wide open by then. But Chicago would be my first choice because my plan is things go well Saturday for this half marathon time trial, and I actually sneak in a 79 or faster. Then my goal is, as Sam said, I'm going to be attempting a 2:45 marathon in the fall. So it's going to be, Chicago for obvious reasons would be my first choice. If I can't get into Chicago, it's probably going to be Savannah, Georgia, or Richmond, Virginia, one of those two, as a backup. I haven't thought deeper than that. And as far as prior to fall, because that's a good ways out, as soon as this half marathon's over, I'm probably going to do another 5K and 10K time trial and see if I can better what I did last fall for as far as PRs go. So,
if you need to know about PRs, I think Chris, the running guy's the man. He seems to be running PRs every weekend at the moment.
He's breaking it over,
even though he doesn't mention it at all. So what about yourself, Sam? You've mentioned London for the first time. Is that the race? Or
yeah, I mean, I haven't booked anything because of the situation that we've had, obviously, in the UK with COVID. A few that I booked before the second lockdown, or whichever one we're up to now, got cancelled. So I just kind of thought, well, I'm not going to book anything up yet. So I've obviously got London this year, and I've got Brighton Marathon next year. But I'm sure I will enter a few races. And the guy that asked the question, Carl, actually, he lives fairly close to me. So hopefully we'll be able to meet up. And he's super quick, so I won't be catching him up. But hopefully we get to do some races together. We've done one together last year. Or was it this year? I think it was this year. So yeah, hopefully get some more booked up when the world resumes normal service.
Right, fantastic. So you've got your own YouTube channel. Are you going to do a Ben Parks, Sam? Are you going to nonchalantly run this marathon for your 2:45 pace, casually talking into a GoPro as you're passing everybody.
Definitely not. I don't know. I haven't even decided whether I'll take the GoPro with me. But if I do, it will not be very much talking.
Puffing and puffing. Andy is running London for the first time this year. He's aiming for 2 hours times 2. So he's going for that 4 hours. So
Nice.
Good luck to you, Andy. What else we got? Oh, Chris has said he's already subbed to Paul, and he's also just subbed to yourself, Sam, as well. That's good to know.
I think I've already subscribed to you, but thank you very much.
What have I missed there? I just missed. Oh, the questions are going through so quick. What's we got here? Joe didn't get into London this year, but we'll be there anyway at mile 7 with Jelly Babies. So make a note of that one.
Go make sure you give me some.
Yeah. You're going to put Sam on your t-shirt, aren't you? Or just to confuse me, put Ben on your t-shirt.
I'll put not Ben.
Fantastic. So Mark's just back from a hill session. Thoroughly loved it today.
Awesome.
Well done.
And I think Mark also wants your shoes there.
I'll have to start locking them up.
So what's he got? I've got the next percents, but want to try the Vaporflies. Yeah, good idea. More stuff. Yeah, there's a question, Sam. Have you got the tempo next percents? The wedges?
No, I haven't got the tempo next percent. But I have a very good friend that's got the tempo next percent, and he absolutely loves them. He he's got the Alpha Fly as well, which I've got, which I don't very much like. But he said that the tempo is a really good sort of speed tempo shoe. But they are very different shoes. That it's not going to be the same sort of flying around feeling that you get in the next percents. But apparently they're quite good. I have had a few people on my Instagram though, so that they just couldn't get on with the tempos, that they feel quite sluggish at slower paces. But then with a name like Tempo, you're not really going to be doing the slower pace runs in that, I would imagine.
No, they're there as the training shoe, aren't they, for the Alpha Fly, basically?
Yeah. They're for the tempo, speed, interval session type stuff.
Right. So we'll just go through the rest of the stuff because I'm just looking at the time. We've been prattling on now for 52 minutes.
Oh, that's gone so quick.
It does, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
I'm surprised there's still people there watching us. Cheers, guys.
Oh, no, there's more coming all the time. So Andy says he's got the Adidas Pros too. They're terrific. Just don't want to take them out on anything other than a flat, dry surface. A big stack to fall.
I find that, when I first looked at them with this sort of grip here, I thought, how are you going to be able to run on anything with that? But I actually find, I don't know about you, Tony, I know you said you've got them, but I actually find they've got amazing grip. I feel like the more I run in them, the better the grip gets.
Well, it's continental rubber, isn't it? So first of all, they're made from tyres. But it is, I don't know if you've seen them, Paul, but it's the tread itself is like a slick racing Formula One racing tyre or an Indy tyre.
Wow.
There's no grooves on it at all, but it's roughed up. It's like it's been scrubbed.
Okay. All right. So you get that kind of micro abrasion thing going on. Okay.
Yeah. So
it's like a cat's tongue. It basically is like a cat's tongue. Right? That's the best way I can describe it. It's like just tacky, it just sort of sticks.
Yep.
What else we got? Andy had the same stability issues with the next percents, but when walking in them, as I say, as soon as you hit your stride and get quicker, it's okay.
Yeah, in speed they feel fine. As soon as you slow down, they feel awful.
There's some good news for you, Sam. Joe's going to be there with a beer, probably not Foster's.
Bring me a cider, Joe. Get me a Copperberg or something like that.
There's going to be people hold signs up wherever you're going, wherever you are on the marathon. They hold up really good signs that say only a park run to go and stuff like that to really motivate you. So there'll be a sign at mile 7. Look out for the sign that says free beer for Sam. This is what you're going to miss running around the track. 52 laps of the track, Paul. You're going to miss this. I was going to say, have you got anybody coming to support? Or is it just you?
Yeah, it's going to be a very close-knit group because I haven't had any of my shots yet, and my wife just had her first one, and my mom and my mother-in-law are also going to be accompanying me because they're part of the way through. And like I said earlier, at least I think I said earlier, I've got the track reserved purely for us. So if nobody climbs the fence, then it's a sort of a safe zone. So we'll set up a table, we'll set up a camera, and off we go.
Fantastic. Just to remind people who've only just joined us, you are running for a cause doing this half marathon time trial. What cause are you running for, and how can people help you with that cause?
I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to bring that up. I'm running for UNICEF just because it's just been, it's a charity that my whole life I've just loved it. From when I was a kid collecting with the little box going door to door. So I just continue that on into my adulthood. And Tony, I appreciate it. You were kind enough to include the link directly to my GoFundMe page for UNICEF in the description for this. So thank you so much.
No problems at all. So we wish you all the best. And if anybody could spare a little bit of change, even the price of a coffee, if you could just follow the link in the description below and help Paul out with his fundraising efforts. And if you don't know what he's doing, going for a sub 80 half marathon.
Yeah. Thank you.
No problems at all.
It's a nice, easy sub 120.
Oh, we've all gone quiet. I think the cable to Kent's gone a bit quiet. You'll have to speak up. You'll have to shout at us, Sam.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah. I said just a nice, easy 120. Nothing big, nothing major.
We shall see. I'll be trying for it. That's all I can promise.
Right, and just to let people know again, you're back on the internet later on this evening with another live stream on your channel this time, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I'm pretty sure that's midnight your guys' time. So if there's any insomniacs out there, feel free to join us. I'm going to have Reto from Run Free and Strong on with me, and we're going to be talking about tapering for every length of race. So, hopefully we'll pass on some information that can help people out.
Okay, fantastic. So please join them for that. Got a few minutes left, so if anybody's got any more questions for the guys, please just put them in the chat box. We'll see if we can get through them before we wrap this chat up. So Mark's got a question. Guys, what race distance is your preferred sweet spot? And we'll start with you on this one, Sam.
I've got to say for me, probably either a 5 or 10K. I think just because obviously where I'm a bit of a bigger guy, I sometimes find it a little bit of a struggle with those half marathons and marathons. Obviously, I'm still fairly quick for my size, I'd say, but I just like the 5K and 10K a little bit more. Probably 10K being my favourite one, to be honest.
Right, yourself, Paul, what gets your juices flowing?
Well, I'll tell you, if you'd asked me this question 6 months ago, it would have been flat out marathon, the only answer I would have ever given. But in the last 6 months, with all these time trials I've been running, I'm learning to love the pain of those shorter races. Mm-hmm. So it's a toss-up, but if I had to be pinned down to one, I'd still go marathon. There's just something about that grind that I just love.
For me, I think the half marathon's my favorite distance. Just getting out there and running it is fantastic. Full marathon, I really do love a full marathon. Again, it's the pushing yourself and the challenge, but it's pushing yourself faster on the half marathon that gets me. Yeah. I used to like the 10Ks, and I probably still do like the 10Ks, but since the world went sideways, we've not had the races, have we? So locally, we used to have lots of 10K races, so there was lots of competition, and to go out there and push and to have that extra 1% competitiveness, when you're trying to run somebody down in front of you, or you look at your watch and you've just got that minute to get somewhere. That's what I've missed, that competitiveness of the 10K.
Yeah.
So hopefully it will all come back.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to jinx things, but it just seems like we're right there on the edge, doesn't it? Like things are just about to get great.
Right. Have we got any other questions before we disappear? If not, we'll be wrapping it up very shortly. So if you've got any questions, please let us know. Mark's put a comment in here. Yes, it was my birthday today, so thank you very much indeed for that, Mark.
How was it? Happy birthday.
Thank you very much. I kept it quiet from you guys. I didn't want to.
You did, yeah.
I didn't want that to take over anything, so that's why I kept it quiet. So yeah, it was my birthday today. If you go,
500 subscribers on your birthday.
The what, mate?
And 500 subscribers on your birthday.
Brilliant. That's what it's all about. The bit about the lettuce, I don't know if you managed to watch the live stream I did last week with Chris Hollingshead, who's a UK athletics coach. Somebody told him when he was running a half marathon many years ago on a warm day, the way to keep cool was to put some chilled lettuce leaves underneath your hat.
Okay.
So I see you taking that story seriously. So I can see that you're going to be doing that.
I'll try that next time. I'll put it under my headband.
That's the one. We've got a question from Luke. What do you do to stay productive on rest days? Editing. That's what it seems to be for me. What about you guys? What keeps you going on a rest day?
Yeah, probably the same. I mean, obviously editing, getting those videos out, but also just I normally use a rest day as more of a recovery day, or as a time to do some of my strength training. Obviously, I love running, but I still keep up with my strength training, and not just strength training like sort of as a runner strength training, just strength training as a sort of sport, if you like, or whatever you want to call it. So yeah, for me on those running rest days, it'll be, you know, my weight day and a bit of extra weights, or just recovery, like I say. So getting those stretches in, a little bit of yoga and stuff like that, and as Tony said, getting those videos edited.
What about yourself, Paul? What's your rest day like?
Well, I'll tell you, Tony. I don't take them. I don't want to come across, strangely, but yeah, I just don't believe in them. I will get plenty of them though. As soon as this half marathon is over, I'll probably take a week of doing a whole lot of resting. But up until then, I generally don't believe in stopping because I'm scared I won't start again.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I don't ever not train. It might not be running every day, but I'm always training, whether it's running or weight training, plyometrics, you know, all that sort of stuff. I'm always trying to sort of build forward. So yeah, I agree with you on that. If I have 2 or 3 rest days and then I go for a run, all of a sudden I feel like I can't run again.
Oh yeah, if I go 24 hours without running, I literally just the guilt is just unbelievable. I just can't handle it, so I just go out and run every day.
I think calling it a rest day is a bit of a con because you've touched on it there, Sam. We all do other things that are complementary to the running. Yeah, as you say, even if you're just doing some stretches, doing some yoga, lifting weights, you are doing things that do contribute towards your running, but it's just looking after your general health, isn't it? And the mental side of things, giving you something to focus on.
Definitely.
We can all go back swimming as well soon, can't we?
Yeah, that's true.
That's one of the things that we've not been able to do. The other thing, Paul, that you probably didn't know, our running tracks only just opened on Monday. Our running track, our outside facilities have been closed since, well, basically Christmas, isn't it, Sam?
Yeah.
Everything's been shut down.
So just doing all the interval sessions on the road at the moment. Just I'm trying to find a flat, straight area on the road, which, as you can imagine, has been nice and easy to find.
Finding the flat, straight piece of promenade isn't so much a problem here. It's finding a flat, straight piece of promenade that doesn't have 3,000 people walking the dogs on it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you saw when I did my time trial back from India, which is on here, but it was absolutely packed. It was the worst place to pick for a time trial because there was about 7 million people. So it was just, I was practicing being a dodger the whole way through as well. So that didn't go to plan.
That's your London Marathon training right there.
It is, yeah.
Weaving. Fantastic. I was out today, did 6 miles, and it's down by the river, and everybody was out. Everybody was out walking the dogs. They're all out with the families because we can now go out in these groups of 6. I just chose the wrong time to go out in the middle of the afternoon. Everybody seemed to be there. But we'll see what it's like tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock. I've got a Couch to 5K group that I'm starting tomorrow, a sunrise one. So we'll see how busy it is at 7 o'clock when I get those people out. So, right. Awesome. I'm just looking at the time. We've been prattling on for hours. We might have helped some people along the way. We do hope we've helped you with some of your questions, answer some of your questions. So, Mark was out today at 9 o'clock and said it was crazy. So it's Easter holidays. Everybody's out. A bit of sunshine. We've not been out. we've not been out, so being let out, people are going mad. Thanks to you, Kim. Thanks for watching. He says it's been a great time on YouTube. Thank you very much indeed. So, yeah, there we go. Andy said happy age grading day. So there you go. I can change my percentages now and run faster. Something like that. Right. So before I go, don't forget to help out Paul with his endeavors this weekend. You can go and sponsor. The links are below Sam. So please help him with that. I said I mentioned it earlier on, and I'll mention it again. Our friends, Chris, that running guy, Ben Notley, and Dan Runs are also running an ultra this weekend for breast cancer and for testicular cancer, men's cancer charities as well. So if you can check out their channels and go and help them out as well, you can make donations via the links on those. If you could do that for those guys as well, that would be brilliant. So Mark has just said to you, Paul, good luck for the weekend.
Thank you, sir. Much appreciated. Every bit of motivation and inspiration I can get from everybody out there is just hugely appreciated. I'm a bundle of nerves. Hopefully I've kept a cap on it for the last hour, but yeah, I'm coming out of my skin in all truth.
Just quickly, is that going to be videoed? Are you going to put that on your channel, or?
Well, I was originally even thinking of doing a live stream, but seeing as I don't have somebody to ride the bike beside me, as I go around, I'm just going to do the GoPro stationary, film the whole thing, edit it down to something that's not going to drive people crazy for over an hour.
You know what you'll be doing though. You'll be going on your 52 loops of the track, and all you'll be thinking about is, well, can I get a good angle this time? Should I be running this side of the track? Shouting at the wife, put it on the floor so I can do a run by.
Exactly. Yeah, there's going to be a whole lot of just improvised weirdness that day, but
yeah, everyone's saying good luck to you, Paul. So yeah, we really do hope it goes well.
Thank you so much, everybody. I'll try to deliver. I will do my best. And tune in. Where are we? It's already Tuesday, so probably about this time next week, I'll post the results in a video. So feel free to go check it out.
Fantastic. Definitely. No problem at all. So from all three of us, to everybody who's watched tonight and to everybody who's watching in the future, thank you very much indeed for spending the time with us. We do truly appreciate it. Hit subscribe on my channel. Go to Paul's channel, hit subscribe. Go to Sam's channel and hit subscribe. We'd love you to join us on our running journeys. We're all aiming for different things. We're all going in different directions, but we're all coming together as a community. So please go and help these guys out and make sure you hit subscribe on all these channels. You two do not disappear after this live stream. We'll have a quick chat with you before we go. But I need to make a nice thumbnail. So can we have everybody waving? Come on, wave so I can get a nice thumbnail. There you go.
That'll look a little better, maybe.
Fantastic. Thank you very much indeed. So for everybody for watching, thank you. We'll be back with you soon. Till then, good night.
Thank you, everybody.